Welcome, folks, to our Agile Austin Leaders Special Interest Group, May 3rd, special edition. And as you can see from our slide here, we connect, we collaborate, we grow. This session will be posted on YouTube, and the Leaders SIG is part of the larger Agile Austin organization, nonprofit focused on sharing the love and knowledge of Agile. So this Leader SIG has been around for 14 years. And we've done the same thing for 14 years. We've evolved a lot during it. Topics have evolved just as things evolve, because we adapt and evolve all the time. But I am Max Ekesi. I've been in Austin since 2001. I'm the founder and been the facilitator of the Leader SIG since 2010. I'm presently the Agile Austin president. And just recently, shameless plug, I started my own software development company, Carpe Diem Technology Services. It kind of aligned with what we're talking about today. Use your Agile skill sets and mindset beyond an Agile role. So I did it in a founder role, per se. We meet every first Friday of the month, and we share things about leading Agile transformations right here on this SIG. And so the focus is always evolved, because we've discovered with the passing of time that what helps lead an Agile transformation has evolved. I can still remember back in 2010 when we were focusing on let's teach people how to use Scrum, which was the most popular process framework. It's still now. And then we started talking about what is a product owner. And we've evolved to talking about a lot more things about team empowerment and psychological safety, etc., which can really help lead an Agile transformation. And who knows where we'll be in 5 or 10 years from now. Okay. I like to tell people, look, go to our site and learn about what being a member is and what being a sponsor is. I am going to put right here in chat two things. First, I'm just going to say, hey, greetings, and my URL to my profile. And if anybody else would like to do that, I mean, in LinkedIn, please feel free to share. And also, feel free to go to agileaustin.org to learn everything else about our organization and being a member and a sponsor. Speaking about sponsors, we have 2 sponsors right now. Hats up to Agile Velocity. They've been sponsors for years and everything. Platinum sponsor. Yay. It really helps out. There are a few other sponsors in the pipeline, but for now we have Agile Velocity and Ad Meliora, which is Erin's company. So she'll go ahead and talk about what she offers. Okay. There. Thank you. And folks, I just love the fact that, first of all, I'll put in the chat the links, the sites to our sponsors. But I just want to say, I think it's awesome that we, as an Agile organization, we have an average of 5 to 7 meetups per month. Like, that is a huge amount for an Agile organization. And we post all of that content on our Agile Austin YouTube channel. So we want to make things available for people at a free cost, because we all want to share the Agile love and knowledge. But I tell everybody, the easiest way to stay plugged in is subscribe to our meetup group. And I'm putting the link in chat. As you can tell, I'm just copy and pasting this links there, okay? Like, hey, it's all available. Okay, meetup.com/Agile Austin. So then if you subscribe, you get all the notifications of all the events we are doing. So please take some time to do that, okay? Board, we have board elections this year, so all our 170 members can vote and everything, but not gonna go through the details of all our awesome board members. Feel free to email us at board@agileaustin.org. If anybody's got a question, wants to tell us how awesome we are, whatever it is, just email us, board@agileaustin.org. We just have a good time, but as a 501c nonprofit, we have official boards, we make official decisions, etc., etc. Please, I will just end with my last link here that I'm going to put. Anybody ever interested in volunteering? We are a volunteer-based organization. Everything we do, our 5 to 7 meetups every month, our Keep Austin Agile conference annually, our in-person meetups, everything we do thanks to our volunteer base. So we always say, hey, if you're interested to volunteer, there could be things that we do that we have not yet started doing, and you might want to start something new. We love it. We love organic growth. Erin's going to be here today. Yay. She's going to do an introduction of herself and what she's going to bring to us by diversifying your experience and credential beyond your Agile role. Very key things as a lot of people transition within their career, within their roles. Very important. Then we're going to take a summer break. Enjoy your summer. Work-life balance. So we're not going to have a SIG over the weekend. Over the weekend. I'm already in weekend mode, right? You could tell. Over the summer. We are not going to have a SIG. Then we're going to come back in September with Dana, who is an Agile Lean coach based in Milwaukee. And she's going to talk to us about the differences and similarities between a lean and an Agile transformation, right? So have fun during the summer, and we'll see you after that. So I just love taking these Brady Bunch pictures on Zoom. So I'm just going to ask that as we transition from my presentation to Erin's presentation, please, can everybody turn on your camera? There you go, Katie. Thank you, Ben, Kathy, Rachel. Yes, yes. Okay, and let me stop sharing here so that you, Erin, can get ready and I can get as many people. Jonathan, I see you. Susan, I see you too. Jenny. Yeah, there's Olga, Regina, Andrew, Tristan. What? Like you don't want to turn on your camera? Is that how it is? Fine. You know, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, folks. Everybody turn on their camera. All right. So we're going to do it. Wave or say, give a thumbs up. Okay, 3, 2, 1. And there, I got you. I got you. Yes. Oh, look at those thumbs up, peace signs. Yes. All right. Folks, round of applause as we transition over to Erin Randall. Erin.
Hey, y'all. And I just want to say how nice it is to see so many familiar faces in here too. I saw Katie, and I haven't seen Katie in person in years. You know, Carrie's coming in from Montana, and there are a lot of people. I think Peter Zimmer's in here too. There's so many people that I just want to thank for coming out, and a lot of people that I haven't yet met. And I hope that we see you one another at upcoming conferences, or if you're coming through Austin or just anything like that. So, oh, and Carrie's even got her emojis turned on and the like. And Ned, I got to be honest, I did not know that you had moved to Minnesota, but I'm very happy to hear that you're enjoying the weather and probably 3 billion mosquitoes. You're on mute, Ned. All right. Well, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. And I have very happy news for everyone in that I only have about 11 or 12 slides, and that includes the title slide and any preamble and anything like that. This is a talk, yes, but I also hope that it's a conversation and the like. So how this came about is that Max and I were on the phone and we were talking about a very different topic, and it came up, you know, what is the state of Agile out in the economy? What are people doing? How are people surviving and the like? And that was where really this, you know, aspect of a conversation was born. So the official title of this is Beyond Agile, Diversifying Your Skills and Experience. But I also want to reiterate that it still very much has that Agile foundation. All right. And you're going to see that come in later in this talk as well and the like. All right. So learning outcomes. Yes, because every good talk starts with learning outcomes. It's hopefully that everyone can relearn that Agile is not dead. All right. last year and into this year, there has been a lot of tumult out in the marketplace and like about what is Agile doing. There have been lots of layoffs at different companies, Capital One, different things and like where it was just, releasing entire parts of their practice and the like. And while yes, that has happened, I am also hoping that people see that the market is starting to shift again in a little bit different place. Just watching people come through on LinkedIn and the like, I'm seeing a lot of people begin to get hired, and not just for jobs. I'm seeing them get hired into things that they love doing, into careers, into vocations for really great positions with different practices and the like. So yes, that's what I really hope for today, that learning outcome of relearning that Agile is not dead. Okay. All right. So this is me. I do have a life goal of hiking on every continent, ideally with Patrick Stewart, although maybe he's getting up there to the age that he no longer wants to do that. I do have my own coaching and consulting practice here in Austin, Texas, Ad Meliora Coaching, which I know everyone loves to hear me say because they're terrified of having to say that themselves and they're going to stumble over those words. But Ad Meliora means towards better things in Latin. And that is the basis of my work, is that I always want better things for whatever group or system or people that I'm with. But you might also know me from Agile Coaching Circles. And Agile Coaching Circles came about in spring of 2020. And Carrie Sudi, who has done that work right alongside, we've done that work alongside one another. You're going to see us do a lot of work over there too, because we wanted a safe place for people to practice these skills where they could get feedback and really focus on growing their own skills and how they executed these out in the marketplace and the like. All right. But really, my work is around a systemic perspective to help people and teams find their inner amazing. So if anyone asks what I'm really doing, it's around that, helping people and teams to find their inner amazing. And if you're wondering why I have a photo of myself with a pig statue, it's a huge family joke in my family around photos with pigs at different points. And so this one is right here in Austin, but I've had them taken in Seattle, in Edinburgh, lots of different places. Also Korea, I think. So yeah. Okay. Oh, apparently I had a timer on that. What is it that I do, or things my parents wish they understood? Okay. So I thought about doing this as a journey map or a timeline there and the like. And frankly, I bailed on that because my graphics work wasn't quite up to snuff in that regard. But what is it that I do? In a nutshell, I coach people. That might be sometimes as a part of a very large team, an enterprise, an organization, or it might be coming down to a smaller team or down to an individual. All right. My training and background, though, have given me a lot of range, and that makes this possible. Okay. I tend to do a lot of work now with universities and systems at that level, just helping them think about how they navigate change and how they want to be with students, with faculty. How do they want to be out in the world as a whole? All right. I get a lot of people there they look at me like, what is it you do, Erin? Because I don't quite get it. Oh, that's okay. I want to go back to that point that part of our training as Agilists, it gives us a strong foundation that makes it possible for us to say yes in ways that other people might not have thought of previously and the like. This does mean, however, that I need to be really mindful of the systems with which I work, how I'm working with them, what is it they find valuable, what is an impact or need for them, and what does forward or better look like for them there. My parents, they've heard me on the phone because I tend to go up to Montana during the summer and work remotely. My dad's like, he'll listen in and he's just very confused because he's like, it sounds kind of like sometimes you're a therapist for a big organization. I'm like, well, maybe sometimes. All right. There are aspects that involve training. Sometimes there's mentorship, always coaching and the like, but there's also sometimes teaching. Okay. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. All right. I'm able to say yes to a lot of different opportunities and the like. And y'all, if you have questions as we go through this, please do raise your hand or shout forward and the like, because it it will make for a much more engaged afternoon for all of us. Because even I find it very strange to think of myself as a talking head here and the like. But I also wanted to, no, I'm going to come back to that question around what is my work there too. All right. Why is this not? Oh, good. I'm calling this one choices I've made, or the initials, or safe or not to safe. Okay. So this does kind of go back to that timeline aspect. The bulk of my career, I was a technical writer and I wrote enterprise documentation for very gruesome applications, very huge, just unwieldy products. And how did people use them? All right. And probably about 20 years ago, I was working with a very large team, and the person that was going to be the scrum master for that team opted to leave. And I began seeing things drop that this team had traditionally not dropped, that they had handled before. And part of it was, they just didn't have anyone there that was, in my words, minding the store. And at that point, I began making tracks and moving from being only doing content and documentation and helping people understand how to use a product to being of greater service to a team and to an organization. And from there, I went on and I did get a Scrum Master certification. And I realized that I didn't just like the work, I'd begun to fall in love with it. From there, I continued to do a deeper and deeper dive. Okay. I went and I did an Agile coaching boot camp out in California. And that gave me the IC Agile credentials of Agile coaching and Agile team facilitation. And side note, it is actually at that boot camp that I met one of the individuals that I still do an amazing amount of work with to this day. He's over in Spain, and you just never know who you are going to meet at different trainings and the like. Okay. But that particular boot camp then fed me forward because like, okay, this is what I was wanting. This is what I was looking for. And I did what was called the last of the GEM cohorts with Agile, or excuse me, it gave me an IC Agile expert level accreditation in Agile coaching, but it was with Lisa Adkins and Mike Edwards and David Chilcott. And that was sadly the last of the GEM cohorts. I was in the Ruby group, and there were about 20 of us that came through that. And that gave me not only the initials, but it gave me the tools and the skills and the wisdom and the experience, because I had to go practice this work. I had to go practice it a lot. And I got feedback from the teams that I served and how I was working in there and what they needed more of and how to be in those instances and the like. All right. And from there, I went an even deeper dive. All right. At that point, because I was serving different organizations now, not just at IBM, what I was seeing happen through service to these teams, because I was modeling safety in teams or safety in a conversation with me, people were coming forward with bigger and bigger challenges that they were seeing with teams. And at that point, I did make the determination that I wanted to go get a coactive coaching certification. And that was another year of work between, the classes themselves and the accreditation, and then logging the practice hours and the like. From there, I also made the transition over because it was when I was going through certification. The woman that I did some training with, she's like, Erin, your people are really over there. It's over there with CRR Global. It's the ORSC people. It's the big team enterprise work. You've been doing it all along anyway. This is just going to give you a different component of it. So I did go over and earn the ORSC certification credential there. From there, because this is how I will spend my life, this is my vocation, is being of service to how people want to be. This means now I've also done somatic coach training. I've done clean language work. I've done vocabulary work on how to become a better graphic facilitator. At this point, I kind of think there's very little training that I have not done or tried and the like. But I do want to add in here, to safe or not to safe. All right. I have not done the SAFE training, and that doesn't mean that I think there's anything wrong with it or, is that a hole that I need to go fill? I'll be honest, everyone, and say at this point in time, I have never had a request from a client to have safe training. Okay. It might come in the future, it might not. It could. All right. But I do coach a fair number of release train engineers. I do coach a number of leaders as they're navigating transformations within their organizations and the like. I've just never had it requested of me. All right. Might be in the future, but some people are like, hey, Erin, you seem to have every other initial. And I will be honest, you guys, I have an exhaustive number of initials. It's ridiculous. Even I don't put them over on my LinkedIn profile. Nobody needs that many. I will also say, everyone, that I do have certain initials that I think I need them, but I don't know that I would suggest that everyone run out and get them. And that's some of those International Coaching Federation credentials. I do have what they call as the ACTC, the Advanced Certification in Team Coaching. Okay. I have it just simply because I was requested by CRR Global to go get it. But I will be honest and tell you that I think my Agile credentials give me a stronger foundation in team coaching. My ORSC credentials give me a stronger foundation in team coaching. And I'm kind of annoyed that the International Coaching Federation does not recognize those as being like, if you've got this, you should be able to pass through into this. It's early days on that, and maybe I'm just on the first wave of that, but I'm just saying that there. I do have what's called a PCC, the Professional Coaching Certification. That just means that I've coached for more than 500 hours at the individual level and gotten paid for it. I think there's a couple other that, if someone were to ask me, what have they done for me? I would be like, probably nothing, but I need to have them just to kind of check certain boxes and the like. Does that help? Is everyone kind of like, that's a lot more than I needed to know about initials, or are there questions that I can answer there? And I'm also mindful of time.
Yeah,
I'm getting
so I just put in the chat for people to ask
out.
questions via chat.
Oh, I am not monitoring the chat, Max. So if someone has a question over in chat, please feel free to bring it forward.
Gotcha.
All right.
Erin, I did have a quick question. What's the
Yeah.
number one most impactful credential you feel you've gained?
Oh, that's asking which is my favorite child, aren't you?
Ben and his intense questions.
That is a hard question, Ben, because I do use all of them in different ways. So when I go and I begin engaging with, let's say, a department at a university, I mean, this is going to be 100 plus faculty. There are going to be issues therein. How, what does it look like for transparency? What is visibility? I'm always going to take, the organization, relationship, and system coaching work, just because that helps me to navigate what is happening in that system more effectively. All right. Because I can go from working really big down to one-on-one. That also means I have that ethical standpoint of the coactive, that CPCC. But y'all, I reach every single day for all of these Agile principles, training. How do you help dig a team out that's stuck? Okay. I may not talk about it as Agile. I might talk about it as change, or how do they want to be in this moment of transformation with this system? I can't get along without any of them, Ben. If I'm honest, I use them all. And I think, frankly, it's both the experience of using this work, the study, and the continued feedback. I would be kneecapped if I did not have each of these three at the depth that I do. It would make my work impossible in certain ways. Does that make sense, Ben? You do? Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Max, your hand is up too. Is that just because you want to wave, or you want to high five?
Well, that too. Hey, that too. There is a comment from Andrew. I think is more of a comment than a question. As someone trying to break from rather into a new role, this was incredibly helpful. So I think maybe
Yeah.
just
I do
sharing
field
it.
that question a lot. How did you get from there over to there? Because like if you were writing technical documentation, how did you make that hurdle? So Andrew, what
Exactly.
you're not seeing is my formal CV or my resume. Okay. And there is a period on there of a couple of years where I did 2 roles simultaneously. All right. And that was because it needed to be done and there was going to be no additional hire. But I also knew that by making those choices there, I was going to make it possible to open other doors later. Okay. It was literally, yeah. I mean, I worked 2 jobs and to open that door. I was very much afraid that if I did not widen my horizons, technical documentation is something that not everyone wants to pay a lot of money for. They would like that to be automated to go elsewhere. So I needed to make certain that I had options that I wanted rather than options that would just be given to me. Does that answer your question, Andrew? Okay. Regina, I see your hand up too.
And I'll go post her because I do have something to say too, but I'll wait.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
So,
Regina, your hand.
yeah, so I'm pretty new to all this. I just decided to be a Scrum Master like 5 months ago, and I've just dived in. I'm trying to do it the most inexpensive way possible, so not like gathering as many certifications as I can. But recently I did get the product owner certification because I know the importance of knowing that position as well.
Yeah.
But as I'm searching for jobs and stuff, so many of them want safe certifications. And those, I just know a lot of people that I talk to, like coaches of mine, mentors that I take, they basically say, don't really need it. But I'm taking a lot of like Udemy courses now to just get supplemental knowledge of even like DevOps and estimations, just everything that I might need for the position. But it's just like, I feel like I might have to get this safe certification. But I'm just avoiding it as
You
much.
might. Okay. I'm not saying that you won't have to. You might. Okay. It's because of all the deep experience I've had previously and built this up over the past 15, 20 years that is a door I could open, but it doesn't mean that it's right for me to do so at this point in time. If you haven't done a Scrum Master certification, you might want to take a look at doing that.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
Okay. Well,
I
you do
started
it.
off with that.
Those are table stakes. You're going to have to have
Yeah.
a CSM to get in the door.
Yeah, I got the PSM and then the CSPO, but I'm just hoping my just getting base knowledge of that, and I just don't want the bots to just completely kick me out because I just don't have the safe certification.
And there's that to consider too. Okay. You might also consider that I'm generally looking at very different types of work than you are at this point too. I have to pitch, to deans and faculty affairs and vice presidents and the like. And because I'm looking at a bigger thing, not just an agile component, we're kind of apples to oranges right now.
Yeah, like I just have zero experience right now, and I'm just like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed ready, but I just feel like
lots
I
of
need to.
meetups.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like at this point, I feel like I just don't need it because I don't know what the next company I go to, they could say, this is what we want from you and we'll pay for it or something like that.
Even
So
better.
I feel
even better. Yeah. Thanks, Regina.
I really relate. So thank you.
Again. Max, you had a question and then you went on mute.
Yes. And you might cover this at some point, which what I've really appreciated of your journey, right, Erin? Disclosure, I've known Erin for some years now, is that even you started as a Scrum Master, you evolved into a bunch of other things. You always stayed very connected to the Agile Austin organization and Agile organizations in general. You're presenting at the Agile Alliance conference, right?
Yes, I'm laughing because we're all like, is it Global Scrum Gathering? Is it Agile Alliance? Is it Scrum?
It's Agile Alliance Scrum
like,
Gathering.
I know. Yeah.
In July. So you have, I feel that you very much kept and appreciated the Agile mindset and presence as you've gone through
Yes.
this journey. Can you speak to,
Yes.
why you did? Is it because you got value
Because-
from knowing the
Very
core
much.
values? And
All right, everyone, I may go talk to a dean. And guess what? I'm going to bring in those Agile pillars: transparency, inspection, adaptation. They are never not summoned into a conversation. Okay. Those still build the foundation of my practice. Okay. Part of, we're talking about diversifying your skills here, but we're also diversifying the way that you talk about your work. Okay. I often talk about systemic nudge within a system. It's not, when I teach for, the ORSC series, when I talk about transformation, everyone, I'm like, it's not a baptismal event. It's not like you go in one and you get dunked and you come out born again, all clean and new. Okay. It's a systemic nudge. You keep kind of just a little tap, a little tap, a little tap, a little tap. All right. The same thing happens here. How do we talk about change? How do we talk about relationship? How do we talk about our work in systems? Where is it that we want to go? Okay. Agile is never not along for the ride for this. It's always building there. Do you think that I still don't bring in Agile principles, values, all of that? Of course it's there. All right. I just talk about it in terms of change and how do they want to be with change. Does that make sense, Max?
yeah, 100%. And I appreciate, just very quickly, which connects to what you just spoke to previously, in regards to, some people might feel that, do you need a certification in SAFe? Do you need a cert in some other things? There could be some job opportunities out there in places that they've never even heard about SAFe, a project manager in a construction company, right? But
Sure.
there could be, like, Agile mindset or things that you've learned through the CSPO, the CSM, and everything that could really bring a lot of value to that space, which they really don't talk about SAFe or Scrum or stuff like that, but still
How
there's an
could Agile
opportunity.
mindset not inform all the things that we do? That open-mindedness, that willingness, to be with growth. How do you want to be in those moments? If I don't bring those along with me and really, how do I want to be in that stance in that moment? I would be doing a disservice to myself. I want everyone, I talked about relearning that Agile is not dead. Okay. It's not. Okay. Agile in every sense has made me the coach that I am today. Okay. I would not be here without all of that experience, all of that wisdom, all of that trial by fire about, going and figuring out what didn't work with the team and how do I want to be better the next time. Okay. I just say to SAFe or not to SAFe. It's just because I've not, had that. I know a lot of people are being asked about it on this side. You need to make the decision that is right for you, for the, where you want to be in your career with your organization and the like, because I do talk about scaling. How do we get it started? What does more look like? Okay. So yeah. All right, let's come forward. I forgot that I put on,
The timer.
animation / time. I'm like, where's the
timer.
words? There's some words here somewhere and the like. To quote Annie, it's a hard knock life, or what would I have done differently? So everyone, I was at a very large fintech in 2019, and I was coaching an executive team, but frankly, I was not very happy in that work. And I knew layoffs were coming. And I was sort of like, hey, I wonder if I could get myself on that list. And lo and behold, I was on that list in late 2019 because I knew that I was going to Tanzania. And this is where you should probably raise your hand, Carrie, because Carrie and I were in Tanzania the same time. We went with about 4 other women, including my parents, and we hiked Kilimanjaro. I decided really to wait a bit until about February of 2020 to really kick off Ad Meliora Coaching. So guess, everyone, what happened in February of 2020. Late February, the global pandemic, things are starting to shut down, like things are going sideways. Now, that meant I'm suddenly out here independent on my own. I have my own business and things are shutting down. What am I going to do? And a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is terrible. You know, you have to go get a job. You have to go do all this other thing. And I ultimately opted to hold. I went and I completed some retrench training, I call it, that was going to open more doors that I opened in the future. And my husband and I really buckled down and we cut expenses to the bone. Like there was not a lot of beyond ramen there for a little bit. All right. It did make for, you know, that was a tough year. 2020 was hard. Yeah, but I need to be honest and tell you that it also made me daring in ways that I might not have been otherwise. Okay. I had the time and the space to go really lean into things that weren't there before. All right. And I can honestly tell you 4 years in that starting a business at the dawn of a pandemic, frankly, was one of the best decisions that I have ever made for myself. Okay. It has made me, I think, kinder. I think it has made me more open to possibility. It has made me more daring. If you had all told me 4 years ago that I would be doing this, I don't know that I would have quite believed you and the like. But I also wouldn't be possible without, you know, those 4 years underneath. What would I have done differently? I'll be honest. I would have even been more daring. I would have asked myself to go pitch at even bigger levels. I would have looked at opportunities that I thought were even far beyond my ken. I would not have doubted myself in ways that I did then that I don't now. I also would have leaned even harder into relationship with people. Although in all fairness, it was a little hard there at the beginning because we literally couldn't, you know, be within 6 feet of one another and the like. But I would have tried even more. And I think for me, that has been some of the greatest lessons of the past few years have been how to let go of fear. Okay. And that would have been the thing that I would have done differently. You know, because I remember literally crying to Carrie one day. I mean, I was terrified. I was looking down, you know, I'm like, oh my God, it's this chasm opening up. But that has also made me the coach that I am today. All right. I went and it used to be, I think I tortured you through a few coaching sessions, Max. I did. If I had a name and a phone number or an email on you in 2020, I was loading you up to pitch coaching or to do a demo session for you just so that you knew what I was doing. And I remember my certification coach at that time, she didn't worry about me at all because she saw me out doing the work. I wouldn't have just done 100. I would have done 200. I would have done 300. I would have done it even more if I could have gotten that out there. All right. I would have done this work for more teams at that point too. So that is, I think, the first thing that I would have done differently. The second thing I would do differently is, this is just for me. I was unclear on some of the things on how to run a business. Accounting is still my Achilles heel. And I will say marketing is not the easiest thing for me either. And I would make a different investment there. The marketing web was like, Erin, you need to make more videos. And I'm like, oh, really? Please don't say more videos. Oh my gosh, no more videos. All right. But there is that component of it. All right. So the operations side of a business, not the easiest thing for me. I do need to have better operations in place to just, you know, how does that business want to be and how does it make it easier for it to run in the future? I think those are the two main things that I would do differently. Would anyone else have other suggestions about things that could be done differently? I am curious about that one, literally. For those of you who have taken a leap. But operations and marketing are really hard for me. I could go coach team systems all day long. People, not a problem. Teach, facilitate, mentor, you name it, I got that. But it is the operations side are difficult.
Yeah, so as people come off mute or chime in, I just want to say very quickly, what stands out to me, hey, Erin, is the fact that you really stretched beyond the traditional roles. And I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Oh, I've been a Scrum Master for 10 years, so they look for Scrum Master positions.
Right.
And that is something that we could talk for hours about that alone, but people just have to think outside the box about what are my skill sets? Where is
So,
it that I bring
yeah,
value to people and companies?
this is something
What
that I
is
did
it?
that I think has been quite useful. I may not be looking for a contract or a permanent position with other organizations, but that does not mean that I do not pay attention to what is being posted on LinkedIn in different job requirements and the like. So if we are talking about how, people work in organizations, that may mean I go look at relationship management, or how are people talking about systemic change. I need to make certain that how I'm speaking and how I'm presenting is in a language that people can understand, right?
Yes.
I also probably would have done that more sooner, rather than like, it's kind of like, I'm knocking the cowbell up here because that's the only note that I have. How do I learn to play an entire orchestra, not just this one instrument?
Bingo.
Yeah, I would have done that earlier too. Jonathan, I noticed that you came on camera, so I'm wondering if you have a question, if you were just like,
I mean,
want
you
to show
get
us.
called on if you turn on your camera.
And I have no
Ah.
problem with calling on people. I'm very good
No,
at it.
my mistake. No, I just finished my lunch. But no, one thing I did want to add is just how important it is as we go through whatever trajectory we take through the world of agility or coaching or whatnot, is to just spend the time in the trenches and do the work, learn through trial and error, conduct experiments on your teams that you have, conduct experiments on yourself, whatever you can do to keep the learning going and to keep expanding, what it is
Yeah.
that you're doing. Because Max, when you said people that are spending 10 years as a Scrum Master, I find that amazing that they don't get bored and think, is there more to this? Can I do more in this role? And that maybe that leads them down to product coaching, that leads them to agile coaching, it leads them to leadership coaching or organizational change or whatever it is. So stay curious is another thing that I would add.
I saw a meme yesterday about this person who was told by, or someone had said early on that he just wasn't going to be able to cut it as someone in STEM. And here he was, now he just landed a couple of different, vehicles on Mars. And the two things that got him where he was going were curiosity and perseverance. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. Wholeheartedly. How do we stay curious and, work those edges around what we do? And, the grit, the perseverance. I mean, I think many of you know me in real life, not just virtually, but to a T, I would say a lot of you would be like, what one thing you know about Erin? Oh, Erin's got grit in spades. Like, I will do the work and I will show up and do it and learn from it, no matter how much it hurts. I will keep coming back. I will keep coming back. Yeah. All right. I don't think I have too many more slides here. That might even be the last of the big blue slides. Oh yeah. Agile foundations, or don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Max, if you can't tell, I had a lot of fun with the title slides on these. I did. I found it to be great.
But you've got a phrase for each one. Like, you got a catchy phrase for each one. Right?
But that has been one of my concerns here over the past year or two, is we're seeing organizations either shed an agile practice or really rethink how they're working. Please don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Those agile foundations will serve you no matter where you go. Are you telling me that, people over processes, you're not going to lean into that? Of course you're going to lean into that. Are you not going to want to be transparent in how you work with, an individual or a team or a system? Yes. Of course you want to do that. Do you want to be I-shaped versus T-shaped? Do you want to really be thinking about what does it mean to be done? What does it mean to be ready? Okay. How do you want to pass things through and the like? I don't want people to throw Agile out just because it's, they were seeing a lot of layoffs over on LinkedIn and the like. That would be a disservice, not only to Agile, but to ourselves. And that was one point that I really wanted to bring home here is keep that. All right. You might need to change how you're talking about things at work. Okay. Notice I brought forth the example. I talk a lot about change and how do people and systems want to be with change. And I found that to be particularly resonant. How do they want to be through conflict? All right. How do they want to be as a system evolves from here to here? All right. That's made it possible for me to do the work that I do and to have systems not only say yes, but to come back for more because they're like, okay, now what do we do about this? How do we go about handling this? All right. Those Agile foundations make that possible for me. Okay.
Oh, Erin, this slided topic. Oh, I'd love to talk for days on this.
This
Can I
one or
just
the
say a
previous one, the
single thing?
foundation?
The foundations one.
Okay. Well, we
Please.
could go back to the foundations one because I've got time for questions here at the end too.
Yeah, I know I've spoken a lot, but just this one thing. It
It's
is
okay.
my SIG
Well,
after all. I can say a few
I know
more
you can say- you
things.
can say
Do
things.
you mind? For 14 years, I've been facilitating this. Can I speak? May I?
Okay.
There
So,
is such a thing for a lot of the people that might be new
mhm,
to the Reginas and to a lot of people that might
Mhm.
be new to the Agile roles and everything. There is something out there called the Agile Industrial Complex.
mhm,
And we just have to be very aware and transparent about this because for us folks that have been in the Agile space for a while, we were the hottest thing in town
mhm.
back in the day. Like when you think of AI and cybersecurity, like that's what we were, right? We were like, are you doing an agile transformation? Are you doing digital transformation based on becoming more of I'm like an agile shop? No, you're not. You got to get the scrum masters and the product owners and everything. And it was like a big deal.
Mhm.
But then something along the way, because the manifesto and the values and the principles spoke to everybody, but
Mhm.
something along the way got very industrial complex like with
Yeah.
and it's nothing. I don't want to come across as a hater of certifications and of process frameworks or stuff like that, because to me honestly, anything you do that helps you deliver value faster and better
Yeah.
through an end user or customer, that's
Great.
good. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Okay. So some people might need to learn more through the certification training or whatever the case may be to get there. But I just
Not
feel that,
everyone.
but not everyone. And I feel that so many more corporations and consulting firms just jumped in, and it became a really big industrial complex,
Like a
a money
churn.
making complex. And we have to be aware for a lot of people that are new. It's like, how can I come to the table and think about the values and the principles and that mindset? I don't want to throw this out with the bathwater. I don't want to throw these things that are really valuable that I can use all the time, every day. And I can learn to communicate that value to other people through an interview process, to some kind of
Right.
engagement or whatever the case may be, so that I don't only say, I've been a scrum master or I've been a product owner, I've been agile. I can actually translate how I help teams deliver value
Yeah.
and like tell a story about it.
Yeah.
And then I could go on for a long time, but I just want to end with, we have to be aware of where we were, what has
Mhm.
happened through this journey, and
Yeah.
why now being an agilist is not as hot a topic as it was 10 years ago. And how can we help change this direction? How can we
I
help
would say,
influence
Max,
for
it might
better?
not be as hot a topic, but I would say a fair number of us, myself included, have always had an agile heart.
Oh, me too.
Okay. And that's what I want to keep there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna bore the crap out of you with one really big slide. Because all of what you are seeing here on this screen has been made possible by Agile. Okay. You're seeing here things that I've created. There's magnesium up in the upper left-hand corner, right? Agile helps build that every year. Right, you're seeing some of my client list up there between universities and pharmaceutical companies. These are the systems in which I work. Okay. Agile helps to make that possible every single day. Right. You're seeing me bring in coaching supervision now. And this is starting to lean into not just the practice of my work, but also the craft. And how do I continue to do this at the highest level that I possibly can? All right. You're seeing, I call it my Chaucer wheel, that self-mastery. How am I doing this work out in the world as a whole? Right? How am I helping systems deal with change? How am I helping to model and live whatever I'm working with in systems? So I will literally, Agile has made everything that you see here possible. I also like to give a shout out to Heather, my graphic designer, who makes me look good. Because I could not make all these things myself. Okay. So that being said, questions before I hit the takeaways and get everyone, because I want to give Max a couple minutes there at the end to get everyone out on time. Does anyone have questions? Besides how you too can have so many initials that you don't care about them anymore.
Let me scroll through chat. See.
So Thomas, you have raised your hand.
Yes, I've raised my hand. And it has to do with, companies are laying off their agile coaches and their whatevers and their whatever. What's real interesting, if you start looking at jobs that aren't, quote, agile jobs, agile is in the definition somewhere in those jobs. It's really interesting. It's like it's become something that it's basic. It's table stakes now.
Yeah. And it goes back to, I think, that heart, it's always there in those foundations and the like. So perhaps Agile was even more successful in that regard than it may have set out to be, because it has become standard rather than just something they're like, oh, we have to talk about this, up front there. So yes, I very much agree with you, Thomas. Yeah. Anyone else?
I think I'd just echo back on that. And kind of, I may be more repetitive than additive, but I do think there's a sense of when you hold that growth mindset, when you hold the values and principles as core to how you work with others, regardless of your title, your anything, then what your role becomes and what you do at a company is less about that title and more about what you're bringing to the work. And so, if companies want to lay off a title, that's fine, but the ability to adapt, to handle the change that's coming at companies every day, that agility is needed regardless of role title. Like, if organizations are not able to pivot and to adjust based on what's happening in the world, they're not going to survive. So they can lay off titled positions, but our role, in my mind, has never been about a title. I don't need an agile title in order to help bring alive those values and those principles in an organization. I can be called a program manager. I can be called a business analyst. I can be called a whatever. I will still bring those core principles as values to life because we've seen them work, and organizations need them anyway. So I think I'm being repetitive. It's been shared, but
it's always good. We say things, everyone says something differently, and however it means that it's possible for others to pick that up. I just also wanted to give it a shout out. Hey, Taylor, I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. And Ned, who kind of looks, that doesn't look like you, Ned, but bring that on.
But I want to make sure Ned did raise his hand first, but Taylor turned on her camera. And I don't know if Taylor had a comment to make or like you wanted to be seen.
There's something that I've noticed. I've been taking history courses. Haven't had a history course since high school, but I'm taking history courses over at the LBJ school before I moved north. And what I have been struck by over and over again is that the principles of agility when it comes to strategy, policy, tactics, conducting any sort of enterprise, back to Herodotus
Yes.
and the Persian Wars. If you're agile, you have an edge up. If you aren't, you're playing with a busted hand.
You're a footnote. Right.
And so it's just echoing a little bit about what you've been saying here. You're going to be agile, or you're going to be out of the picture.
Right.
That agility doesn't guarantee that you're going to be influential and be successful. But boy, it sure helps if it'll hurt you if you don't have it.
Maybe we should have had Ned title this talk. I think he had a better title there. Yeah.
But Herodotus had to be agile.
Maybe we should call it that. Yeah.
Xerxes wasn't, and he lost the war.
Yeah, I've got one more slide, and then I'm going to give it back to Max so we can get everyone out. If I could recommend many books, I would, but I can only recommend one generally. James Clear's work is some that I turn to again and again and again. Atomic Habits, and I would point people back to that. So success, is the product of habits, not a once in a lifetime transformation. You'll hear me say a lot around how systems are greater than goals. What are the systems you are building in order to make those goals possible? But the three things that I would like you to leave this talk today with: be so good they can't ignore you. All right. This means, everyone, I am going to go do this work and get feedback on it and try and experiment and learn and fall and get back up again and again, because I want to be so good at this work that they cannot ignore me. All right. Fall 7, rise 8. This is a Japanese proverb that if I were into tattoos, I would have this one probably tattooed on the back of my neck, because I believe very strongly in this, that if I'm knocked over, I will get back up again and keep learning, keep doing this. Fall 7, rise 8. And lastly, do the work, all of it, and then go practice even more. All right. We were talking, a little bit about, you might have been a Scrum Master for a long time, but does that mean you also, let's go work on how are you writing stories, right? How are you working with your product owner? How are you coaching some of those different teams? If you're coaching, do you really need to go work on how you ask questions? Do you want to go practice clean language? Do you need to go bring in improv? Do you need to go practice different systemic aspects? So do the work, all of it, and then go practice even more. And that's all I have, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Max, because he's probably got something wise to say. Wait, I might. Oh yeah, there I am. If you need to see me, Erin, this is where you can email me, and that's me on LinkedIn. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Erin Randall, folks. Round of applause for Erin Randall.
Thank you.
Always. And if you haven't gotten enough of Erin is also going to present on Monday at the Agile Austin Coaching SIG, because it's the Erin Randall show, and Carrie's going to be there.
We are very sorry about that, y'all. We did not realize until it was like, oh my gosh, we're all presenting twice in May.
That was of Erin.
It was not planned.
So we're going to take a break from Erin, and Carrie's also presenting at the Texas Agile Roundup the end of May. But then we're going to take a break from Erin and Carrie for the summer and for a good portion of the fall. But I just have to say, we're fortunate as an organization to have such quality speakers and presenters to share their journeys, to share things that this was about leading Agile transformation. This is what the SIG is about. But we have to evolve. And we have to understand that this has been asked by people that have joined our sessions about, hey, we are going through challenges. The job market is evolving. Well, then let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So I think that this is a perfect example that over time, we really have to understand as Agilists, how can we evolve and adapt to a changing environment? Because we still very strongly believe in our Agile core values and principles can still deliver value, maybe even more so now in a very fast changing world. The world is changing faster than it ever has with globalization, AI, and all sorts of other things. So, folks, it's 1 o'clock. We start on time, we end on time. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording. If people like to hang out for like a minute or two just to chat, feel free. But stay agile, my friends, until the next time. Okay. Posting the recording on the meetup and YouTube channel link I will put out there in the meetup, and also the picture we took. It will be on the meetup.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Erin.
Bye, Max. It's always good to see you. We'll try it in person again one day. Taylor, it was nice to see you too. You're on mute, Taylor. Hi, Kate.